The Galactic Trade Summit was supposed to be routine. Ambassador Veltar of the Zephyrian hegemony had attended dozens of these gatherings, where representatives from across known space negotiated shipping routes and resource allocations. The newest species to join the galactic community, humans, were presenting their case for expanded trade privileges. Veltar found them unremarkable, bipedal, soft-skinned, lacking any natural armor or weapons. Their representative, Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, spoke in measured tones about economic projections and mutual benefits. Boring, really. The hegemony had been the dominant force in galactic politics for 3 millennia. They would grant the humans some minor concessions, collect their tribute, and move on. Standard procedure for primitive species. The attack came without warning. Sectai assassins materialized from their cloaking devices simultaneously across the conference hall. A coordinated strike meant to eliminate key diplomatic figures and destabilize the fragile peace between the hegemony and the coalition worlds. Veltar had survived such attempts before, but barely. The lead assassin appeared directly behind the human delegation, his monomolecular blade already in motion toward Dr. Rodriguez's neck. At this distance, with that speed, nothing could prevent. Lisa Rodriguez moved. Not the clumsy stumbling of a panicked civilian, not the trained but predictable response of a bodyguard. She twisted with fluid precision, her hand snapping up to intercept the descending blade. Her fingers closed around the weapon's edge, just millimeters from her throat. The assassin's 4 eyes widened in disbelief. No species had reflexes that fast. The blade should have passed through her neck before her nervous system could even register the threat. But Lisa wasn't done. In one continuous motion, she yanked the weapon from the assassin's grip, spun the blade in her palm, and drove it into his primary heart. The entire sequence took less than 2 seconds. Around the hall, similar scenes played out as other human diplomats revealed their true nature. Captain Torres dove over a conference table, drawing a sidearm that shouldn't have passed security, and putting 3 shots into a Sectai's center mass before the assassin could complete his strike. Ambassador Liu executed a perfect combat role, came up with a plasma grenade that had been disguised as a datapad, and cleared an entire section of attackers. But it was Dr. Rodriguez who held Veltar's attention. She stood calmly over the body of her would-be killer, cleaning the monomolecular blade with a cloth from her briefcase as if she'd just finished taking notes. Security response time, 4 minutes 30 seconds, she said to her colleagues in that same measured tone she'd used for trade negotiations. Unacceptable for a facility of this importance. Captain Torres nodded, holstering his weapon. I'll file a report with Station Command. Recommend upgrading their detection systems. Veltar's translator was working perfectly, but the words made no sense. These weren't trained soldiers or bodyguards. According to their files, Dr. Rodriguez was a xenobiologist. Captain Torres was listed as a merchant marine officer. Ambassador Liu held degrees in economics and interstellar law. How? Veltar whispered, his voice carrying across the now silent chamber. Lisa looked up from cleaning the blade, her expression curious. I'm sorry? How did you... Your reflexes... That speed is impossible. She tilted her head, considering the question. You mean catching the knife? That's not particularly difficult. Human reaction time averages around 190 milliseconds for visual stimuli, faster for tactile. Basic combat training extends that to predictive responses based on micro-movements and environmental cues. Basic training? Veltar's mandibles clicked, in confusion. All human citizens complete military service, Captain Torres explained casually. 2 years minimum. Dr. Rodriguez here was Special Forces before she went into xenobiology. Seemed like good preparation for first contact scenarios. Ambassador Liu nodded. Standard procedure. Never know what you'll encounter in space. Veltar looked around the chamber at the other alien delegates. The Altarians were cowering under their tables. The Crystal and Velka had retreated into their protective shells. Even the warrior caste Braktor were staring at the humans with something approaching fear. Your species, Veltar said slowly, trains all its members for combat. Of course. Lisa replied, testing the balance of the commandeered blade before sliding it into her belt. Earth is a dangerous world. Always has been. Predators. Natural. Disasters, hostile environments, you adapt or you die. When we reached for the stars, we brought that adaptation with us. She gestured to her companions. Dr. Stevens there completed her botanical research while serving with the Marine Expeditionary Force on Kepler 442b. Captain Torres spent 3 years as a combat engineer before joining the merchant fleet. Ambassador Liu commanded a destroyer in the border conflicts. Border conflicts? Veltar asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Pirates, Liu said with a shrug. Occasionally hostile first contacts, the usual challenges of frontier expansion, nothing we couldn't handle. Veltar felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. In 3 millennia of galactic dominance, the hegemony had never encountered a species that treated warfare as casually as these humans discussed trade routes. The Sectai are considered the finest assassins in the galaxy, he said faintly. Lisa glanced at the body at her feet. They're adequate, I suppose. Their approach timing was off by several microseconds, and they telegraphed their strikes. Amateurs, really. Amateurs. You have to understand, Lisa continued, settling back into her chair and retrieving her datapad as if nothing had happened. Humans evolved from persistence hunters. We didn't have claws or venom or natural armor. What we had was endurance, pattern recognition, and the ability to make very quick decisions under pressure. Those traits served us well. Captain Torres activated the hall's security system to clean up the assassin's remains. Now, Ambassador Veltar, I believe we were discussing expanded trade routes through Sector 7? Veltar stared at the humans, finally understanding what he was looking at. Not another client species to be managed and taxed. Not primitive newcomers to be patronized and controlled. Predators. Apex predators who had learned to wear diplomatic smiles and speak in terms of mutual benefit. The hegemony will need to reconsider our position on human trade expansion, he managed. Lisa smiled, the same polite expression she'd worn throughout the negotiations. But now Veltar could see what lurked behind it. We hoped you'd say that, she said. We're very eager to establish closer relationships with all our galactic neighbors. As he watched her clean blood from her fingernails with the same casual efficiency she'd used to catch a monomolecular blade, Veltar realized that the balance of power in the galaxy had just shifted, and the humans hadn't even needed to fire a shot.